Alright guys, welcome back to Stormhawk's Headcannon, where I talk about my headcanons for the Stormhawk series and fanfiction I've had for Stormhawks. And today I thought it'd be interesting to talk about the relationship between Starling and Repton. This was actually my first ship for the show, so I thought it'd be interesting to talk about how, in my headcanon, Starling and Repton's relationship blossomed and where it went from where it did. Now, yeah, so this would start out as that, I did keep in canon that Repton did kill the Interceptor, Starling's squadron, except all for Starling. Which, it wouldn't exactly be like, oh, I forgive you at all. It wouldn't be like, oh, I forgive you, let's get married. It's not like that at all. What it is, however, is that Starling and Repton are essentially kind of pulled towards one another. It's like Starling, in my headcanon, is kind of mentally broken. She's kind of she's dealing with a lot of PTSD, and she's emotionally distant from a lot of this other Sky Knights. She's not really, welcome either, because she's kind of a downer. The only people who really kind of tolerate her, in my headcanon, are the Stormhawks, because they really, idolize her and really treat her like a friend. Everyone else is just kind of sick of her angry face, because a lot of them, especially Harrier, gives her the most shit, in that Harrier essentially tells her, to fucking deal with it, and to which Starling's like, fuck you, because, you didn't have your entire squad wiped out, and he's like, well, maybe you should have pitched in, and maybe you should have done something. And, Repton, on the other hand, was just like, it was a job, it was a mission, I just carried it out, and it was, if it's any consolation, they die, I let them die with honor, and they, yeah. Also, Repton, on Repton's end, now, if you guys remember in my Raptor headcanon, I've had this headcanon that in Raptor culture, Raptor males are attracted to females who are stronger than them, or can overpower them, or at least put up a fight against them. And Repton has never really had an equal, male or female, in, he's never really had an equal in terms of a relationship. I didn't mean it like he was looking for men and women. Not that it's a bad thing, but Repton is straight in here. But basically he's never really had an equal in terms of fighting, whether that be, fighting for the kingdom, or fighting a Sky Knight, or even other females who fought him. He's never really had someone to take him on, and when Starling beat him, he was like, oh my god, I think I found my queen. Holy shit, I think I found the one for me. So Repton is kind of, Repton's basically, he is so enamored by Starling, because at first he was like, well, shit, she stole my ride and helped take down my sky defenses, and took my scientists, so I'm a little pissed off about that. So, fuck her. And then he's like, oh, fuck her. Yeah. So that's kind of what it is, that it eventually becomes he can't get her out of his mind, he can't stop thinking about her, it's kind of impeding his work with the Cyclonians and being a king. So he's kind of like, I need to go find her. I need to go find Starling. And when he does find her, he's under the pretenses of, I want my ride back. And Starling's like, no, I'm gonna fucking kill you. But the two, after another fight, Repton is like, I've never really been, there's never been a woman who could best me in a fight, and it's you. And I can't, you're human, but I can't get you out of my head. And Starling's like, what in the ass is wrong with you? So Starling, Repton, this time around in their next meeting, Repton manages to beat her, but he's still like, you can, I'll take my ride back, but, I'll keep my eye on you. And Starling's like, oh great, I have a stalker, this is amazing. So Starling's now like, well, great, now, I don't know what to think of Repton, because he let me live, he could have easily killed me, but instead let me live, so what the hell do I do? And keep in mind, the Sky Knight, a lot of the Sky Knights are still kind of not really against Starling, because they don't know about this little meeting, but what they are is Starling's kind of just dealing with so much emotional baggage is that she's kind of a buzzkill to the other Sky Knights. So she doesn't really have anyone to talk to, and she doesn't want to tell this Arrow and the others, because it's like, well, shit, this is kind of awkward. What do I say? Hi, Arrow. Remember Repton? You know, the guy who's tried to kill you guys multiple times. Yeah, he wants to. He wants to. He wants to make sex with me. That would not go well with the Sky Knight. So she runs in. She goes to. They keep running into each other essentially because Repton. I wouldn't say he's being possessive, but he is keeping like he does like have. He does pay people to go and keep like an eye on her, like spies for her, and they report back to him, and he's like, I'm trying to court this woman, but how do I court someone who I've essentially murdered her what was the closest thing to her family, so what the hell do I do? Anyway, so Repton, eventually is, you know, they eventually meet again, and this time it kind of goes from fighting to fucking, and yeah. Now, another fun little thing I've done with this Repton and raptors in general in Headcannon is that they like to wear the scent of the females they've mated with as like bragging rights. So Repton does, like, the next day after their one night stand, Starling's like, "You're not going to take a shower?" And he's like, "Oh no, I'm going to parade around my castle like that, you know, with your scent on me, and that's going to piss everyone off." So she's like, "Oh good, you're gross. That's amazing. That's gross." So yeah, and I just had this funny scene of like Repton basically going around the castle, going around his castle. And his Spitz passes by him. He's like, "What's? It smells like a Oh, you didn't. Oh, Repton, what would Ma say?" He's like, "What?" Anyway, so yeah, that was kind of the things that they eventually kind of go from just hate sex to kind of realizing they're both kind of emotionally damaged people, and they kind of complete one another. So it would be like that, because Repton, in my headcanon, isn't exactly like, he's so wound up and so. Like, he has such an emotional wall around him, just like Starling, is that they kind of slowly come to the realization that they're like, yeah, we're both kind of we're both emotionally fucked, so, you know, misery loves company. So that's how it eventually goes. Now, a little time skip in that, yeah, I do have that in my headcanon, that Repton and Starling do get married, they do have kids, but obviously with Starling becoming the Queen of Bogotan and being the first ever human queen, non-raptor queen, mind you, to ever rule Bogotan, it's kind of working against her, and Repton's people are like, "Are you shitting me? Like, the king took a human? We're going to have a half-breed as an heir? What the hell?" So, Starling does everything in her power to rule as queen, you know, to carry herself as a queen of Bogotan. And she actually, because if you guys remember my Religion and Atmos video in Stormhawk's headcanon, I talked about how in that headcanon I had it that Starling's an atheist. But after which after marrying Repton, she converts to worshipping their gods. She can, as a, you know, sign of, hey, I'm one of you guys, I'm going to worship your gods. Hope that's cool. She also tries to make herself more raptor-like. I'm not saying she uses a Korma stone to make herself look like a raptor. She makes herself like more raptor-like, where she files her teeth down to look like fangs. She puts like special contacts to make her eyes look lizard-like. She wears like a form of body paint along her arms and legs that look like scales. She also wears like a more tribal costume, like a more female version of Repton's armor. Stuff like that to make herself like more appealing. And she's like, "This hurts. This physically hurts me more often than I can count. But if I'm going to be a worthy queen to these people, I have to make these sacrifices to make sure that these are now my people. I have to govern them and make sure I am on their terms." So, yeah. Also, the people of Bogotan, the Raptors of Bogotan, eventually do accept Starling as their queen because they eventually see what Repton sees in her. Raw, unbridled savagery. And, you know, this kind of ferocity that makes her... Because she eventually, Starling in this headcanon, eventually is kind of like... she realizes that she's more at home on Bogotan than she is out in the rest of the Atmos, because here on Bogotan, she can admit to herself that, yeah, I'm a bit of an animal myself. And here I can let loose that savage that, you know, that I've been pent up. I've been like having this noose of aggression and anger hang around me ever since I lost the Interceptors. But now I can free that animal. I can free the animal and be what I've always, meant to be. So in a weird way, Repton saved her from herself. So that was kind of the thing, is that in a weird way, Repton awakened her true self in a way. I know that sounds really weird, but hey, it's my fanfiction, my rules. But yeah. Now they did have in this headcanon, they do have children. They do have twin sons, Romulus and Remus. Romulus was the first of the twins, so in turn he is the first to get the throne. And Romulus is very he's learned to carry himself like a prince of Bogotan, in that he's he does have his mother's like tactfulness and strategic mind and what have you, and is an excellent fighter, but he does have his father's anger. He has his father's aggression at points, and he tends to tell those who serve under him, especially his cousins, because Spitz, Hork, and Lugi do have kids of their own in this future timeline. So he informs his cousins of who's in charge more often than not. Remus, since he can't get the throne unless something happens to Romulus, Remus is groomed by his father to be the future war minister of Bogotan, essentially their head general for future warfare in Bogotan. So he is now he's being groomed by his father to be the war minister, and he's more of his father than he lets on. Is that he thinks he's more aggressive, he thinks more militaristically. I wouldn't say that he has like, oh, I want to kill my brother and rule the throne. He's more like, yeah, I'm perfectly at peace with my brother because he's more of the delegate than I am. So, yeah, if you need me, I'm gonna start. If you guys want me to start and finish a war, I'm your guy. So I've gotten tired of the whole brothers at war with one another to claim the throne. So in here, it's more like the brothers are at peace with their places in terms of the royal family. So Remus is at peace with being, that he's never going to get the throne, but at the same time he's like, I get to start wars and finish them and participate in wars, and I get all the royal treatment. I'm at peace where I am. But yeah, Romulus, like I said, does take more of his personality from his mother's side. He's also more of a delegate. But like I said, the moment you piss him off, his father's rage kind of comes through. So that was kind of the thing right there. Yeah, so there's pretty much it. There's the story of Romulus and Remus, their Repton and Starling sons. 'Cause I don't know, like, I feel like, for some reason I just imagine Starling having twins and Repton being like, twin sons to my name, yay! Yeah. So, yeah. I know it's a little out there and a little brutal, but I've always keep in mind, this is my headcanon. I'm not saying this is the definitive Stormhawks lore. I'm not saying that at all. This is just my personal headcanon. So, yeah, I'm just kind of throwing this all out here for shits and giggles, and I'm always excited to see what you guys have to say about this. Especially looking at you, Carlotta, who I know have been watching this entire video from start to finish, because anything with the word Stormhawks on it, you come running. It's like you sense it and come running. Anyway, so you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you guys think of this headcanon for Starling and Repton? Comment below, let me know. And once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.